We got a special treat today. We're going to hear from the directors of Dahlia's Hope. They're going to explain the program and what they do and how they do it. I'm just going to introduce Sherston Stockwell and Heather Lambert, and they are going to just tell you about themselves and about what they do at Dahlia's Hope. So, Cher, here's your opportunity.
Oh, is that for me? Hello, everybody. My name is Sherston Stockwell, and I'm one of the founders of Dahlia's Hope. And I'll tell you how that all happened in just a minute when I begin the presentation. I want to introduce you to Heather Lambert. Some of you have met her already. So she's our Director of Development, and she's the one that really just gets in front of anybody who wants to support not just the trafficking umbrella, because it's so broad, but specifically the aftercare piece of it. And she's amazing. And so she's the one that first met with your group. And we were together at Operation Underground Railroad, and now we're doing aftercare specifically. And so know this face and know this name. She's amazing. So anyway, thank you. Okay, so we are Dahlia's Hope. I'll tell you a little bit about me first, and then we'll go into a little bit of Dahlia's Hope. So my career very accidentally stumbled upon trafficking. I had spent 10 years in Washington, D.C., the typical D.C. experience, Capitol Hill, federal government. I worked for both the House and the Senate. Had no idea I would ever jump to anything like this. When I left federal service, I was pretty much solely 501c3 when I left, but a lot of political action committees, public policy, had not crossed over into charity. But a few years back, let's see, that would have been 2015, I met the Operation Underground Railroad group at a big conference I was hosting. They were one of our breakout sessions. And pretty quickly joined their team afterward. And I was with them for 3 years as their Director of Development. And that's when I really became versed in this cause. And all of the work being done by really great nonprofits out there for trafficking are incredibly needed. There's a big gap, a big hole missing when it comes to aftercare, specifically here in this country. So during our time, during my time at OUR, my husband and I had become particularly close with this, sorry, I should have done that first. That's our logo. And I will talk about our logo because it's the coolest thing. Faith. So this face right here, okay. I told Heather, I don't know, I was getting emotional before I got up, but I'm so grateful today. So Faith is our founding survivor. And we met her. She was not rescued. She escaped on her own. But she was introduced to us through a partner of OUR's who had learned about her, and she was already on her own for a couple of years. And my husband and I became close with her, and we took her in, and she lived with us. And we kind of helped propel her forward on her journey. But she's really special because in our time that she lived with us and then stayed very close with our family, she shared with us, let's see, this would have been last year, 2019 in the spring. She was at our home one night and she was just really, really emotional and crying. And she says, I have got to help other survivors. I know that they would trust anything that I said was okay because I'm in my healing as well. I'm a survivor as well. But we need to help survivors. I know people right now who have no resources. And so she began to share more and more and more of her story. And you guys will be able to meet her. She works full time, and so getting off work is sometimes hard for her. But a little bit about her story first. She was lured by her trafficker at the age of 13, and she was brought into this country illegally and taken directly to New York, where she was trafficked, she escaped right before her 18th birthday, so about 4 years, 30 to 60 times a day. And that was just the norm. 15-minute appointments, 30 to 60 a day. 30 was on the low end, and that was a good day if it was only 30. And she was very, very young, as you can imagine. So she escapes, and she tried twice to escape, the first time unsuccessfully, and her traffickers found her, and they beat her horribly. They broke her jaw. She escaped again and was able to make it to NYPD. And a really important part of her story is that the officer who she got to believed her. It's not that officers mean to be skeptical, but they could have considered her a runaway, a teenage runaway. They could have considered her any number of things. But this particular officer believed her and actually helped her all the way through her case. So she becomes this main key witness in this international trafficking ring, blows up this whole case, which is wonderful. But the most important thing to note is that she still had no place to sleep that night. So if you understand, if you become a legal adult, she escaped only a couple of weeks before her 18th birthday. So for a couple of weeks, they had little charities here and there. They put her up in a shelter. There was a Catholic charity. She calls it the House of the Nuns. It's the cutest thing. And they can help her, but they were a domestic violence shelter. Everyone's kind of just pitching in and trying to help. And at 18, she was told, well, you're 18. You're far better off than most people. You're okay. Well, she wasn't okay. She had a broken jaw. She did not speak English. She's in a foreign country. The only two cities she knows are the little tiny village she's from in Mexico and Queens, New York, not speaking English. And to add insult to injury, she her first language was not even Spanish. It was a Mayan dialect. So she's trying to communicate and find resources, find a safe place to live, find a way to make ends meet. And she's being told she's 18 and she's just fine. So on her own, she begins to piece together resources. She finds one charity that helps her find a job washing dishes. Another charity helps her find an English as a second language class. And she's just piecing together the best she can. By the time we met her, she had not received sufficient clinical therapy at all. I think they gave her a couple of appointments and said, you're not needing to be institutionalized, so you really are, we have to cut you off. There's no funding for this. But of course she had PTSD trauma. Of course she has to process complex trauma. Had never been through any of that. And the place she had found to live was not only still in Queens, it was in the same neighborhood as her traffickers. So now she is trying to keep her job washing dishes in the city, but ducking behind trash dumpsters on her way to public transportation because she sees the trafficking vans driving by with all the girls in them. We took her back to New York to record all of this. And she drove us by the apartment, so to speak, that they kept her in. And they locked her in from the outside, and there was one window with the bars on it because it wasn't a safe neighborhood. And they fed her once a day the exact same fast food Chinese food meal. They'd pass it through the bars in the window, and they would leave every single day. We got footage of the whole thing, the path that she had to walk to public transportation, the places she had to hide behind as the trafficking vans drove by. We went to the main street that the exchanges happened on. And it was very liberating for her to be in a safe vehicle and pointing this out and not be on that side. But she said, that man over there, he's a trafficker. That man over there, he's the driver. And she knew all of these things. And she was helping, of course, and her case ended really, really well. But she knew it was still going on. She knew that there were still people that were in the same vans with her being driven. Because the way that trafficking worked in the trafficking ring she was in, is they delivered the girls. Buyers didn't come to the girls, they were delivered to the buyers. That makes sense? So it's almost like you order food and you deliver food, you know? So drop off one appointment, back in the van. Next appointment, back in the van, over and over again. So she knew the path, and she said, I was in this van with multiple survivors, or victims at the time, and they're still out there. They're still there. And so she just felt this, you know, as you can imagine, a little bit of guilt that, okay, I got out, and they're still there. So she wants to help survivors, and she wants to make these resources easier to find. I'm going to give a couple of statistics right now. And this figure, by the way, at the top of this paragraph is a 5-year-old statistic. Okay, this is the 2015 statistic. And before we get too into it, if any of you have knowledge of or ties to clinical therapists, they will tell you that these statistics are incredibly low. We have therapists on our team right now who say that maybe 1 in 5 or 10 survivors have ever reported to these statistics. So incredibly low. But just go off of these just for conversation's sake. Okay, say there are 800,000 to 1.2 million people just like Faith in this country right now. If you skip to the bottom, we did our due diligence. We looked around to see how many total spaces there were if we add up every single aftercare program in the entire country. And there's less than 1,000 spots available in the whole country for 800,000 to 1.2 million, which we know is less. I mean, it's probably more than double to triple, but we just it goes underreported. We have no idea. So there's not enough places to rehabilitate these survivors. And I won't say if you meet them, when you meet them, because they're here and they're in our program, they're amazing. They're amazing. They are funny, they're hardworking, they are resourceful, they are capable, they are mothers, they are friends to each other, they build and lift each other up. We've got survivors who are police officers in our program, that's how they chose to go forward and deal with their angst, want to do good going forward. It's amazing what you will see with survivors. I think we sometimes have an image that they're very, very broken. Not that they're not, but I think we sometimes just want to bring them up to just healthy or healing. But what we are finding, and one thing that Dahlia's Hope offers, is far more than that. They go on to far exceed expectations. We've got a member of our board who offers not only life skills training, but various forms of professional training. And she'll bring in speakers who will be these amazing, like, CEOs of companies or newscasters or all these different people, and they'll tell their story in front of a room of survivors, and they're a survivor, and they go through their whole story. And we teach them you can be whatever you want to be. You don't just have to make the rent. You don't just have to process your trauma. You can be whatever you want to be. And keep in mind, so many of these survivors lost their childhood, and so they lost these experiences of daydreaming, thinking of what career they would like. They truly think that the most they could ever get is just to not be in trafficking and to be living safely alone and maybe have a job. And when you begin to see survivors literally get creative and think, well, maybe I do want to be an artist. Can I take an art class? Heck yes. We offer so many forms of recreational therapy, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it's truly to rehabilitate more than just to safety or to healing, but to a fulfilling and independent and self-reliant life and restoring what was taken from them. So anyway, back to the first paragraph on this slide. Your police stations, your hospitals, your first responders, they are in desperate need of programs to refer these people to. They do not, when a victim comes to them and is willing to, and this is another thing, if they're an adult, they come willingly. We don't make people stay. And there is an unfortunate statistic of survivors returning back to victim life, returning to their trafficker. There's a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes their traffickers have lied to them and told them that they would kill their family if they ever left. Or they have forced these, when they were victims, they had forced them to commit a crime so that they would be afraid to go to police because they would be charged with something. There's any number of reasons why someone who's been in sex trafficking would return to a trafficker. And to help them find a program that they believe there's actual hope and that all those horrible lies that were tricks that were told to them are not true, is kind of a first hurdle, if you can imagine. And that's one reason why Faith really wanted to create a place that was created by a survivor and that she could say, I relate to everything being told to you, and it's all not true, and this is what you actually can have. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you can obviously read, if a victim of sex trafficking is under 18 when they escape or are rescued in the United States, they may be returned to their family if their family is safe, which is true. Oftentimes the family is safe still. There's not a tie to family in a lot of cases, but sometimes there is. Shelters or treatment centers are likely placed into the foster care system. Okay, let's see. So Dahlia's Hope. So one of the things that Faith said that night to us, spring of last year, was we have to create a program that is easy to find. It cannot be hard to locate. I searched and searched and searched. She was calling places in Orange County. She was calling anything she could find. She was watching documentaries on the internet. And she could not find a place that offered what she needed. She needed medical attention, clinical therapy, psychotherapy. She needed life skills training. She needed dental work done desperately. She needed everything that we probably take for granted is very easy for us to just call and find. And she said, there are many programs, but they might offer one thing here, one thing there. And another point that she brought up to us just recently, Heather and I were with her, she said, and I hadn't heard her say this before, And she does this sometimes. She'll throw out new things. We're like, well, that's new. She just throws out these things in kind of real-time stream of consciousness thought. And she said, did you know that because I was 18, I didn't have resources, or I would find resources and I was told, oh, but you're not 21. So she was stuck in this 3-year window, and she finally got so frustrated that to one of them, she says, what do you want me to do? Wait 3 years? I'm not safe. I see my traffickers still. What do you want me to do? There's this horrible window of 18 to 21, which we have got to fix. And then at 21, even then, it was hard to find. There might be academic courses here. There are great programs out there, and they do offer different things, but her dream was one place, easy to find. We meet you where you are. So another important thing to understand about Dahlia's Hope is that we are not a set cookie cutter program. This was very clear from Faith, very clear. We have to meet every survivor where they are in their journey. Do you need your GED still? Or were you trafficked all the way through high school and you have your high school equivalent? Do you need that? Some were trafficked through college. Do you need a place to live, or are you in safe housing? Where are you in your clinical therapy? Have you had any so far that was gifted to you, or that you did qualify from federal funds? Or have you had none and you're piecing it together? We meet every single survivor, and this makes us incredibly unique. But it was very important, and I wouldn't have even thought of this if a survivor hadn't have said this. But one place where we're assessed. So Dahlia's Hope offers, as you can see, the bullet point list: clinical therapy and psychotherapy, of course, medical and dental resources. And then recreational therapy, you guys, we have to talk about that. Your clinical therapist will tell you that when you couple clinical therapy with multiple and various forms of recreational therapy, the healing is exponential. It just happens so much faster. So we have this beautiful therapeutic animal farm, and animal therapy is the coolest thing ever, because animals, oftentimes the survivor will be comfortable being touched or touching an animal before they will another human, and that makes perfect sense, right? But the cool thing about animals is that they don't automatically trust you either. You have to earn their trust. So it's a very safe place where they're kind of building trust with a living entity that they enjoy and feel safe with as they go through clinical therapy. And so on our animal farm, we have horses and chickens and goats and pigs and bunnies, and it's the funnest thing. Another thing to note about animal therapy is that a lot of people are aware of equine therapy. There's a lot of major success with horse therapy, equine therapy. However, when a survivor was trafficked at a young age, keep in mind that they are small as a child, and their customers were men. They were big. And so size dimension alone is very uncomfortable for them, and a lot of survivors are not ready to go straight to working with a horse. Horses are too physically large, and they trigger them because they feel small and scared immediately. So we'll start with mini animals, mini goats, mini cows, smaller animals they can hold, and they work their way up to equine therapy, and then we do move in directly to equine therapy. So we're huge advocates and fans of recreational therapy. Of course, education, vocational training, life skills training, and what's not on this list we have to add is the housing. We do have various forms of residential assistance, whether it be in our own home or helping them in a safe home that they would prefer. If they don't need a home, we don't automatically put them in our home. That would actually be regression. If they're already living independently, we build upon that independence, but we help them with that. So it's multiple forms of residential support. So I don't know if you want me to do this one. We talk a lot about ways that we can be supported. So being a nonprofit, I've done nonprofit work since I left federal service, so 2005, gosh, 15 years now. So in the nonprofit world, a lot of people are familiar with this, but nonprofits want to be in a category that they can assure their donors or supporters how much of their money goes toward the cause. And so if you're in a 80% goes directly to the cause, 20% for overhead, that is a boastable figure. That's a boastable amount. I love aftercare because it's not just basic trafficking that has a lot of facets. It's only aftercare. So we have 90% of donations go directly to the survivor, and that is really, really rare, and we're super proud of that. So everything from tuition, clinical therapy appointments. I mean, you can see the list, different things that they can do. And then I also am pretty shameless about just asking people to please tell everyone. Just tell everyone you know, because awareness, social media support, anything that's in the community is really, really huge for us. And when it also comes to support, I tell people, just give $5 a month on your credit card recurring. Everybody can pass up one meal through a drive-through once a month. If you guys really understood that for a charity, 40% of their donations come from little $5 a month donations. 40%, it's huge. So, of course you have your organization here that you work with, but my kids do this. You can tell anybody to get involved that way. It makes a bigger splash than you even know. So that's kind of how I love to end the presentation, is just there's so many ways to support it. So that's all I have to say. I don't know if you wanted to, do you want me to stay up or do you want to, I can come down? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cher. Okay, and we may have Cher come, you had some more slides.
Those are common stats. We usually end at the beginning, but
Okay. No, we'll go through. That's good. I know you talked about a lot of this, so. Okay. You had quite a few slides you can still go through. There you go. And we will be sending out this slide deck to everybody on our email list, and along with the video that we're recording here today. So you will get a chance to see that as well. Okay, so now how RevRoad can help Dahlia's Hope. So hopefully you caught a little bit of the vision and you caught what the need is. It's very significant. So here's how we're going to help out this year. So first of all, it's cash donations. Okay, that's where we're starting, because cash is king, right? We preach that here at RevRoad with our companies, that cash is king. It's the same thing for charities, right? They need cash in order to do their operations and fund their programs. So our goal for this is to raise $6,000, and RevRoad is going to match up to $3,000 of whatever cash we're able to collect. Okay, so that's our goal. And we're going to do it a couple different ways, and this is where I might have you come back up, Cher. Yep. So donating to Dahlia's Hope, it is a 501c3. It is a charitable organization, so it is tax deductible, so you'll have all that information. And this is their homepage on their website of where to donate. So a couple different ways here. You can do a subscription, you can do a one-time amount. If you do that, there's a little box underneath there that says add a comment. So if you could add a comment and say, I'm part of the RevRoad family, that would be great.
You could literally just write RevRoad. We will know. Yep. We're going to have it all set up that anybody that says that is directly linked in our database to RevRoad.
To RevRoad. So we appreciate that. There's PayPal. There's just mailing a check-in as well. There's also something cool with Amazon Smile. So Amazon, I don't know if everybody's aware of this. Amy and I have done this in the past, where you just basically, it's Amazon, but it's kind of a sister website to Amazon, where you set up a charity that you can support. So all of your shopping, there's a portion of that actually gets donated to that charity. And in the past, Amy and I have done Habitat for Humanity. There's a huge list of charities that you can pick on there, and Dahlia's Hope is one of them. So if you do shop on Amazon this season, we would love for you to go to Amazon Smile and choose Dahlia's Hope as your charity.
And let me say this, Amazon Smile, a lot of people don't understand, you do nothing different. You don't pay a penny more. Amazon gives it. They have to give anyway. This is the platform they've created to give. And so you may as well. It looks no different for you other than making that selection process, and then they give a percentage.
Yeah,
so it's
and
genius.
it'll tell you exactly how much is donated and stuff. It's
awesome.
Pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Okay, so the other way you can just donate it through RevRoad, and I forgot I was going to bring this up, because already this morning we got our first donation. So Dahlia and John from Gig Energy, Dahlia came this morning. She couldn't be here today, but she's like, I want to give you this check. So we already have a check from Gig Energy that's going to go in and go to Dahlia's Hope. So that's really cool. So shout out to those guys. So you can go to our Venmo, donate there, and we'll track it all back. And now we need to talk about how people get their receipts back from Dahlia's Hope.
Yeah, make sure sometimes whenever you use a Venmo or something, you don't realize how important it is on our end to receive information. So if we do have a name and any contact information, email address, phone number, whatever you give us, we can then give you your tax receipt. So just don't forget to include that. If you do give directly through RevRoad, if they know it, they'll pass it on to us. So either way, as long as we have the name, you guys can get your tax receipt. But if we don't have that, then we legally can't. So please include anything, a name and any contact information, and we're good.
There you go. So that's how you get your receipt back. That one's for Bart. Okay, so keep moving on. Second thing to do, you can.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the RevRoad family, some other ways that we're going to help support Dahlia's Hope, the way we're going to actually get together a little bit during this holiday season, even during our COVID restrictions, we're going to go shopping. So these funds that we get in, we're going to be able to go shopping, and they have you saw some of the needs that Dahlia's Hope have. So we'll get together, we'll be able to break up into smaller groups. You'll have a shopping list, and then you can go get it and bring it back here to RevRoad. So that way we maintain our small groups and our social distance. So we're doing that on December 14th. So back to the cash donations. You basically have 3 weeks, I think, from yesterday to get to our goal, okay? So I think the next 3 weeks, if you find some time and make that donation, that would be awesome. And we'll send out some reminders. We may be a little annoying for the next 3 weeks, but you'll love us for it anyway. So the second way is to go shopping. So that's Monday on December 14th. We're going to send out a sign-up sheet that'll come from Darren's email. You'll see it from him. So if you see something from Darren, make sure that you open that. That'll be the sign-up sheet, okay? And there'll be 3 different sign-up sheets, and I'm going to go through those really quick. So the first one is just to go shopping. Get together, have a little bit of fun, go shopping, and fulfill some of these needs for Dahlia's Hope. Okay, and these are some of the examples. Cher already went through some of this. This is basically what we're going to go through, and we'll have a shopping list. So it'll be super easy to come, get together, have some fun, and get these items. Okay, the next one is wrapping. So we're going to bring all that stuff back here, and we're going to have a wrapping party. So you can sign up for that as well. That's going to take place on Wednesday, December 16th here at RevRoad HQ, so we can spread out appropriately, but we'll be able to wrap all these gifts so that we can take them up. Okay, and then that's the last one is the delivery. So right now we're planning on Friday, December 18th. We'll meet here and we'll carpool up and be able to deliver all these gifts that we just wrapped and went shopping for. So that's our get-together portion. So if you're comfortable with that, feel free to sign up for any one of those things or all 3 of those things or none of those things. And if you could just be generous and give, all those funds are going straight to Dahlia's Hope. So other opportunities, and this is kind of cool too, because we do have an extensive network here at RevRoad. So we do want to make sure we take advantage of that. So if you know therapists or doctors that donate part of their time, dentists, vision, even self-defense. I know we had, I forget the gentleman's name, but he has a karate studio that was here, right? Broke a bunch of bricks. So any of these contacts that you have that love to donate part of their time back to the community, this would be a cool introduction, connection for Dahlia's Hope. So as you're dealing with people, talking with people, and you have these connections, might be something they're really interested in. I know my brother is a dentist up in Montana. He's gone to China and he's gone to Mexico and donated his time for some of those other kind of programs. So there's an opportunity there for some of these professionals to get back. I also think you needed horse equipment, right? Tack?
You always need animal equipment.
Animal equipment.
Always.
So, I know being down in Mapleton, all the farmers down there,
we've had people donate
stuff,
for
right?
all their hay. We've had people donate the horse blankets. Like, it's fun.
There you go. So there's lots of great ways to help out this organization, and we'd hope you take advantage of those. So with that, that's our presentation this morning. Yes, this is a requirement when we do anything with Christmas, is we have the Darren elf. And I know he's embarrassed by it, but we love him and we love it. So it's appropriate. So please get a hold of me or Brandon or Peyton, and we can answer any questions that you have. And we can just make this a super great opportunity for the RevRoad family to give back a little bit and have some fun and really make a good impact in our community. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.